Hey everyone, it's Nancy Chi, your Vancouver real estate advisor, here with your November 2025 market update. And this month, things are shifting again. We're seeing more inventory, slower sales, and price softening across the board. Let's break that down and what that means for you, and whether now is the right time to make a move. In Metro Vancouver, stayed in a balanced to soft market this November. Here are the highlights. Benchmark price about $1,123,700 for all residential homes, down about 3.9% year over year. And for sales, we are at about 1846 homes sold, which is 15.4% fewer than last year. Active listings, however, it's been going on for the past year, has gone up about 14.4%, giving buyers a lot more choices and a lot more to choose from. Sales to active ratio is about 12.6%, right on the edge of a downward price pressure territory, typically below 12%. So we're on the verge of balance and a buyer's market. In other words, buyers are very cautious right now and sellers are adjusting their expectations finally. So looking at the detached home market, prices have gone down about 4.3%. So the benchmark price right now is about 1.9 million. Sales to active ratio is about 9.7%. So it's firmly softening. The days on market right now for detached home is about 51 days on market on average, which doesn't always translate to that because a lot of times listings are getting terminated or expired and they're relisting again at a more reasonable price point. The sellers are finally meeting expectation on what this market is doing. So this 41 days on market is normally after several price drops or after several relisting opportunities. So I wouldn't say that once it really depends on the price and how the sellers have originally set the listing price and expectation. If they have set it where they are ahead of the market, this could mean that properties are selling maybe 30 days or 51 days. But if they're overlisting the home and it is not where the market expectation is, sometimes it does take a lot longer to sell. And after they relist it at a more reasonable price, then the 51 days makes more sense. This segment is moving the slowest. So serious negotiation for buyers that are looking to upsize and buying into a detached house. Now for townhomes, the benchmark price is about $1,065,600, down about 4.4% year over year. The days on market is a lot shorter. It's about 39 days on market. It has a bit more activity, but it's still slower than normal. It really depends on the city and the neighborhood that the townhome is in. I'm seeing some townhomes do sell a lot better, but in other like luxurious or more higher end areas, it is still slower. So it really just depends on the area, if it's a more affordable product or not. Now for condos, I would say this segment has gone down the most in terms of price. So the benchmark price has gone down 5.2% year over year at $714,300. Days on market is 44 days, but I would say this is about the same as I mentioned in the detached house market, where sometimes it's the relisting of new price points that gets the lower days on market. So a lot of sellers before were listing at a higher price and finally reaching that there's no buyers in this market for that price and they would have to relist at a lower price to meet expectations, and I would say that would be the more realistic. But I am seeing a lot of condos getting terminated and relisted again. So 44 days I don't think it's realistic to say for every home. It just depends on the initial listing price of the property. So for last month, the condo market actually remains more resilient, but it is still softening. So in this market, this is one of the most balanced and negotiable environments we've seen in years for buyers. It's really empowering the buyers. We've got more inventory, more time to rent conditions, less competition. So you have time to do your due diligence. You have time to figure out financing and get inspection. You have more negotiating power, and sellers now are finally becoming more realistic in price. So this is the best time to buy, best time to upsize. If you've been waiting for breathing room, this is it. And what does that mean for sellers? Buyers are active, but they are picky. To win in this market, pricing strategy really matters more than anything right now. Homes that show well and price correctly still sell, but homes that are wanting to test the market, they're sitting in the market. And oftentimes it actually becomes a detriment for testing the market because we're chasing the market and chasing the price, and it sometimes ends up selling a lot less than if you were initially listed it a little bit lower to begin with. And we have to be patient. Expect longer timelines. Buyers, they have a lot more to choose from. So they're filtering a bunch of other listings, a bunch of other homes that are on the market. So you have to have your home stand out. So you are the obvious choice. And we can definitely talk about that and strategize on what that price point looks like and what you need to do to stand out in today's market. So if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing, or just want clarity on how these numbers make sense or affect your property, reach out, DM me, call me, or grab a spot on my calendar in the link in the description below. I'll help you make the right choice with confidence. Thank you for watching.